The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Remember this, when you're the greatest fighter in the world today, they got a name for you. They don't call you a great fighter, they call you Chael Sonnen. Beat me, if you can.
And after tonight, none of you in this ring will ever again!
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kid stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
And I have in my cold beer. You have your cold beer? If not, you are fucking jabroni.
Wash it down with 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
What the hell is the meaning of this? He's right off his heart. I swear to God, that'll stop your heart. Why? Someone tell me why, damn it.
Hey, welcome to the FRB Show. The guest we have with us is a 3-time freestyle national champion, a former Strikeforce light heavyweight champion. He's also Bjorn Rebney's best friend, from what I've heard. His name is Muhammed Lawal, a.k.a. King Mo. What's going on, Mo?
Listen, man, just chilling, dog. What's up with y'all?
I'm doing all right. I'm here with Filthy Tom Lawlor.
Lawler, we got beef, man. We got beef.
Oh shit.
Listen. You're with the Red Dragons, right? That's my chick, Ring of Honor. Right?
Oh, okay. This is where this is going. All right, lay it on me.
Listen. Your boys beat my Young Bucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We want revenge, man, because the Young Bucks my favorite tag team. And to watch them lose, I watched the Wrestling Kingdom 9. To watch them lose, it hurt my heart, dog. I watched them lose on Ring of Honor too earlier this year, I think in April. That hurt my heart as well, man. Yeah. I invited the Gunbucks to come out to Florida to come hang out with me because I'm big fans of theirs. So hopefully I can get some ring time with them. We can get some payback later this year.
You're on the wrong team, my man.
No, never that. Young Bucks all day. Bullet Club, hey, that's my squad right there, man. I love the Young Bucks. Bullet Club, you know what I'm saying? Suck it.
So, Mo, did you get a chance to see the New Japan pay-per-view?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how awesome was that thing?
Man, you know what? It was great, man. I'm going to watch it again tomorrow. Stiff style. Man, the spots were on point. The referee was, man, I don't know, the referee, like, just watching them control everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, just the crowd. Man, I tell you this, like, those guys are, I don't know how they're able to perform like that on a monthly or weekly basis if they do it like that. Because they have a stiff style, take hard bumps. I'm not with that, you know what I'm saying? I'll take my bumps, but nothing like that.
So, Tom, did you watch it?
Oh, yeah, of course. I actually, I had Todd Martin, who writes for Sherdog and Figure 4 Weekly. Actually, he came over to the house last Sunday morning after the Cormier Jones fight, and we watched some of Wrestle Kingdom 9. Even Red Dragon looked great. Obviously, Young Bucks looked okay. But I thought to me...
Oh, my God, what a hater. Man, let me tell you something. The Young Bucks look the best out of that four-way tag team. You know what I'm saying? That four-way melee. They look the best. The Red Dragons got put over so what? You know what I'm saying? But the Young Bucks, we all know they're the better tag team.
Well, hey, the record is clearly in Red Dragon's favor. They still have the belts. But Mo, what did you think? And Brian, what did you guys think about the Nakamura-Ibushi match? I thought that one stole the show.
Oh, yeah. I'm like I said, man, I don't understand how those guys do that, man. It's way different than watching WWE. Like, only thing I can say is close to that is probably like Ring of Honor, NXT, and even Guerrilla Wrestling. Guerrilla, GPW. They have some good matches too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's just, man, when you watch that, it makes you not want to watch like WWE and some American shows. I like the indie scene better. Those matches, man, ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the work rate is incredible, and I think the reason they can work so hard is like maybe they don't tour as like WWE. Like WWE, from what it's been described to me, is like you might have 2 days off in 1 week, whereas like they'll go on a tour for like 2 weeks and then they'll be home for 2 weeks. I'm not an expert. Do you know, Tom?
Well, with the Japanese tours, they'll run a few weeks at a time, usually 2 or 3 weeks, and then they'll have a little bit of a break. But like Mo's talking about the Young Bucks and how they do it, those guys are wrestling the Indies, they're wrestling in Japan, they're all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things for them is, I mean, they're not subject to this out-of-competition testing, so they can recover at whatever rate that they want.
Now, that kind of segues into John Jones, who's the subject of a lot of talk lately. And first, Mo, I know you're very close with Daniel Cormier, so I wanted to get your thoughts on the fight, on January 3rd with DC and John Jones.
Well, let me rebuttal to this slick remark that Tom brought out about the Young Bucks. And the Young Bucks, look, first of all, they're genetic freaks, so they don't need to do anything. They heal fast. They're like too many Wolverines. Now, going back to the Jones-Cormier fight, I thought that was a great fight. I thought that take away the takedown in the first round, Daniel could win that first round. Second round, Daniel won. Third round, Daniel was winning. I thought he won that round, but the eye poke, once the eye poke was hit, everything went downhill on Daniel's side. Like he wasn't the same. And Jones controlled him. The third round, Jones was probably his best round when he took 2 takedowns. But other than that, like most of it was they were just jockeying for position and landing some short shots. It was a good fight. I think a rematch, things would change because I think Daniel's camp would be better. He had Kane in his camp, and I'd be able to be there longer. And he has more people in his camp. But I think that Jones fought a great fight, very smart fight. It was a great fight. I think Daniel will beat him next fight.
What did you think, Tom?
I thought the fight was 2 rounds to 2 going into the 5th. And, but I'm watching it from the stands, from pretty far away. I know a lot of people that watched the pay-per-view thought that Jones was up and that he controlled the 3rd round, but I thought Jones won the 1st round. He got the takedown. I thought Cormier won the 2nd and 3rd rounds.
Yep.
And then I thought Jones won the 4th. And the 5th round was kind of like a nothing round. I guess.
Nothing round.
Yeah, I guess Jones controlled it, but I wasn't.
He was the champion.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm going to cut you off, Tom, but the thing is, okay, it's different when you're there, because I was there too. I was in Vegas too. I had pretty decent seats. I watched the fight. But when you hear the broadcasting, when you listen to the people, like, for instance, I watched Lawlor versus Roddy. And I watched it, and I didn't hear no commentary. So to me, I had it 3 rounds to 2, 3 rounds to 2, pretty solid. Now, when I watched the fight, I was like, man, what are they? Am I wrong here? Like, what? Because I'm hearing what Joe Rogan and Goldberg are saying. I'm like, maybe there's something I'm not seeing. But when you're at the fight, I think you see a little better. You see things. You hear the crowd reaction. Because I'll tell you this, at the end of the 4th round or 3rd round, the 4th round when Robbie was on top throwing punches, the crowd went crazy. But when you watch the fight on TV, you can hear that. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the 5th round. At the end, like the 5th round, when Robbie was Robbie was on top of Johnny throwing punches, when Johnny was on his knees, you can hear the crowd go crazy. But on the telecast, all you hear is Joe Rogan and Mike Goldberg go crazy. They drown the crowd out with their voice. So it just seems different. I think live you get a better sense sometimes.
So, I mean, at this point now, all the talk is about Jones and his positive cocaine test. What do you think should happen to him? Or should anything happen? Or should this even still be an issue?
I'll tell you this, like, when Dan Garcia fought Eric Morales, I believe, Morales failed a drug test. Didn't Dan Garcia's people know? And Dan Garcia like, hey, I want this, this, and this. And the fight it happened still, you know. I feel like maybe they should have told DC. DC could be like, okay, I'll fight it, but I want this, this, and this. You know, I don't know what the UFC is. Honestly, I don't really follow them. I really, what they do is what they do. You know what I'm saying? But whatever they choose to do is what they're going to do, you know. And fans can be mad, fans can be happy. Makes no difference. But, you know, when it's all said and done, Jones the champion. He beat my boy Daniel, but in the rematch, Daniel's going to beat him.
Now, what do you think, Tom? Like, if you were in Daniel's position, would you have wanted to know that he flunked a coke? He flunked for coke like a month prior? Or?
That's tough because I'm not sure how much that plays into the actual fight. I think most of the issues that arise have to do with the way that it's been handled, both behind the scenes and in the media by pretty much all the parties. The one thing I could say is if I knew somebody was doing cocaine and partying before I was about to fight him, it might give me kind of an extra like mental edge. You know, I'd be thinking that there's no way that they trained as hard for this fight as I did. That would be probably the only benefit that I can see from knowing. I mean, unless you're looking for a hookup at the after party, then of course you want to know.
But Beau, I mean, you know, you've spoken a little bit about or enough about Jones in DC, but what about you? I know you're going after a fight with this guy Tito Ortiz, you know, who I guess he's pretending that he's relevant again, but you want to fight with him, I know, because he has a name. Are you going to get that fight?
Well, I didn't want to really fight with him. I didn't care to fight with him. My goal was to get the belt. I just said something because I seen he was tweeting, and he was a bitch because when we did the interviews, I never bashed him. I never said one thing about him. I was actually for him fighting Quentin. And I was like, whatever, you know, it's cool. You want to fight? Go ahead. Because he wasn't on my radar. But the fact he's talking about, man, me versus Mo wouldn't be a good fight. You know, I think it's pointless. Mo just laughed, blah, blah, blah. He's talking about me. When I'm right there, I didn't know. And then when I see him, he's trying to be all buddy-buddy. So now someone told me, I'm saying, like, no, you got to check the interview that Tito's doing. He's talking down on me. And I'm like, nah, there's no way you lying. Tito wouldn't talk bad about me because, man, when I see him, he's all buddy-buddy, you know what I'm saying? So when I saw him, I was like, okay, he's a bitch. And then my homegirl saw something that he tweeted, like, Mo versus Quentin Part 2, and it's two gorillas fighting. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this into my head. I'm going to hold on to this. And when the right time pops up, I'm going to say something to him. And the right time popped up at that press conference. And you've seen, he won't say nothing. You know, he just gives a PR answers like, yeah, okay, if Coker wants that, but he knows he really don't want to fight me. He wants nothing to do with me. He would never beat me. Even in his prime, he'd never beat me. I think he's slow. He had no punching power. I'm not worried about his wrestling. I'm not worried about his speed or his cardio. I'm not worried about nothing, you know, because I know the fight ain't going to happen. So my goal is to, you know, beat Liam, Newton, whoever is my way of getting the belt. That's who I'm trying to see.
But I think from like a point of view of drawing the fans' interest and, you know, drawing the most viewers, you versus Tito's got to be, if it's not the top fight, it's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 fights that they could possibly put together. I mean, especially with Rampage being, you know, going to the UFC pending.
Man, come on. You really think, come on, man. Quentin is going to court. You know, that's what I think he's going to. He don't want to fight. I saw him in Vegas. I saw him at Chateau. Dude was about 265, maybe 270.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah, I think. Look, if you're gonna fight, you should fight Roy Nelson after Roy beats over him. You should fight Roy. Let Roy knock him out. I'm gonna tell you this: Quentin don't want to fight. He's talking all this and that. He's got to sue so and so for 10 to 20 million. You sound dumb, Quentin. You sound dumb. You know, what's going to happen is he's probably going to be in court for a while, and you won't see him fight. I mean, I think he's happy with that.
Yeah, what do you think, Tom? I mean, Do you think Rampage is running from a fight here, or he just wants to go back to the UFC where they'll match him with some bums because they need to draw some viewers and pay back their creditors? Or
yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure what the hell is going on with that situation. It kind of came out of nowhere, and the timing of it is really suspect with the lawsuits being levied against the UFC. It was really bizarre.
He don't want to fight, man. It sounds good. Oh, when he's back, I want to fight. It sounds good to start training. If somebody wanted to fight, that's just about fighting, it wouldn't be 265, 270. If you run 230, you know what I'm saying? He ain't trying to fight. It sounds good. He wants to sound relevant, but man, he just don't want to fight no more. He don't want to fight no more. He just wants to get paychecks. That's why, he got a new car from UFC. That's what I heard. Yeah. Okay, he can get gifts, and he's going to go to court, going to lose. And then he'll be like, all right, well, wait for my next gig. He'll try to do some pro wrestling. Not going to do it because once he takes a bump, he's going to be like, you know what? To hell with this. He's going to try to act, but he can't act because after the A-team, he didn't have a phone call since. If you're in a movie with a bunch of A-list celebrities and A-list actors and you do good, guess what? You will get phone calls about roles. This dude played Mr. T, the worst Mr. T. Mr. Z, dude's terrible. And got no phone calls. Nothing. No one was interested in seeing him act. He could play himself. He should play himself in movies. No. But playing other roles, no, not going to happen.
Now, Mo, I thought that you had made peace with Rampage.
I mean, that was all fake from my sponsors, man.
Oh, for MMA Elite, right?
Yeah, so it was all because they're like, man, and I was like, okay, whatever. We're at his gym doing a photo shoot, so of course it was going to be nice because they write my check. So I was like, yeah, I can be nice. I never, we weren't cool, you know what I'm saying? We weren't cool at all. We knew what was up, you know what I'm saying? We had to play cool. We knew what was going on.
Now, Tom, do you do that sometimes, like with the guys that are like giving you shit and stuff? Like you just got to be cool with them, like because for money reasons. But if they like looked at you the wrong way, you just like fucking slap them or something.
I don't really have anybody that messes with me, Brian. I think they know if they do that the Red Dragon's going to take them out behind the scenes.
Get out of here with that, man. That mess. We have a problem pretty soon when I see you, dog. Me and the Young Bucks, we should have a six-man tag team.
Yeah.
Me and the Young Bucks is you and the Red Dragons.
Trios.
Dumb. Y'all bums.
I would love it. I would love it, believe me.
Bums.
Wait,
oh, my God. I'm gonna talk to him about that. Because I can work in the ring. I'm going to talk to the Young Bucks about it. I'm going to bring him out here in Florida, and we're going to sit down and talk business. And we're going to take care of that because there's no way my boy shut off to y'all twice. There's no way.
I got a question for you, Mo. You're pretty tight with Kenny King? Is that?
Yes, my dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Is he still out here in Vegas? I'm out in Vegas currently, so.
Yeah. I seen that. He's out there. I'll give you his number if you want it.
All right. Sounds good. I know him from back in the day in Orlando. I'd run into him when he was hitting on every white chick in vicinity. So.
He's FSW right now. Like he does some training there, FSW. It's a good school.
Now, where's FSW?
This is Las Vegas. I don't know the streets, but I know it's Las Vegas.
Oh,
they have shows. They had a house show last night. Phil Roney's been going there a little bit, working on doing some pro wrestling, taking bumps just for fun. Because I told him, he didn't believe me. I said, pro wrestling is harder than MMA. He's like, no way. Dude went there, hit the ropes, took some bumps. He's like, Mo, I'm sore. I was like, from what? He's like, I took a few bumps and hit the ropes. I'm sore as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing you in Ohio Valley Wrestling, like you hitting the ropes, and those ropes were like fucking steel cables. Because I'm like, yeah. I saw Mo hit them, and I know he's a really fucking strong guy, 210 pounds or whatever you were. And those ropes seemed to, like, you struggled just hitting those ropes.
Man, look, I tried to hit him as hard as I could. After a while, the harder I hit him, the more it hurt. So I tried to take I was like trying to do whatever I could not to hurt myself or hurt my back even more. Because they are steel cord. OVW got rid of the rope and replaced it with steel cord. So I'm there trying to hit them ropes, not barely even making them move at all. They're like just knocking me back.
Now, I know both of you guys are like Vegas. I don't know, Mo, if you're still based in Vegas. I know Tom is. What did you hear about David Tyrell, not the Soul Assassin, the guy that fought in WEC? What'd you hear about him beating up Tito Ortiz outside Dre's nightclub?
Go ahead, Tom. What you hear?
I didn't hear anything. I stay inside. I keep to myself a lot, man. I'm too busy watching Japanese pro wrestling and watching chicks in the CrossFit games to be out partying. So I don't really know a whole lot about the situation.
That's. Are you done partying, Lawlor? Is that for real or is that bullshit?
I think I'm going to start picking up my partying. If I get a fight scheduled, probably about a month before. See what happens.
So, Mo, what did you hear?
Well, I heard that they're at Dre's. He saw Tito saw David Terrell in line, tried cutting in front of him and said something to him, and David Terrell put the defibrillator on him, just threw some hands on him, and then all of a sudden the security came, broke it up, and Tito tried to put a submission hold on security or something. Some lame to that effect, if Tito's talking about you don't want to fight me, they'll fight somebody in line at a club for free.
A welterweight too.
Yeah, what type of sense is that? What type of sense does that make? That makes no damn sense. But Tito's Tito. So he ain't all there. He got some boat moves.
He's got a pretty poor record in street fights at this point as well. It seems. Lee Murray put it on him, and now David Terrell. So, Mo, I got a question in regards to the Viacom contract. Now that TNA is off the channel, does that mean that you're effectively done with them?
Well, I have no idea. Dixie texted me the other day and was talking to me. We're chopping it up. I don't know. Maybe we'll work something out. But for right now, I'm hoping to do I'm gonna do indie shows House of Hardcore. I think which is probably they have some of the best shows. House of Hardcore, with Tommy Dreamer. I'm gonna do independent shows and I see to get some more ring time because I've been training MMA and I haven't spent enough time in the ring since actually about a few months. So go back to working the ring.
Hey Mo, do you watch like Raw regularly or what? There's so many choices, like 4 or 5 weekly shows now. Like, are you watching these shows or you just kind of read about them? Sometimes that's what I do.
Raw, it just depends. If I hear about it, I'll try to go catch some matches. I mess with Lucha Underground, because Conan, Viva La Raza, it's my dog, I watch everything. If I miss, I go straight to YouTube and YouTube it, I don't know what it is. My thing right now is amateur wrestling, boxing, pro wrestling, and just, kickboxing. I watch everything but MMA, to be real with you. I don't watch much MMA. Unless it's somebody I know fighting. If I don't know them, I ain't really watching it. I just can't watch it just to watch it no more.
What about you, Tom?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty interesting that you bring that up because it kind of falls in the same boat. I'll go to live shows and I love being there, but I find a lot of enjoyment in watching, the different disciplines in their kind of pure form, whether it's the king of all sports in pro wrestling or it's kickboxing or even, gi jiu-jitsu matches. I think a lot of times, and some guys kind of buck the trend with this, but in mixed martial arts, you fall into the category where you're doing techniques that everybody else is doing, and it kind of takes the creativity out of it. And I think when you look back at some of these like pure styles, whether it's boxing or kickboxing or what have it, that there's a lot of tools in there that aren't necessarily used in MMA, and there are a place for them. So I think, watching all these different disciplines and styles really, it's exciting if you know what you're watching. And I think it could help out your game too.
You got anything for Tom on that, Mo?
No, I would get co-signing 102%. I feel like, especially MMA, because a lot of times you see everybody just doing the cookie cutter stuff, and I feel like if you're like, I feel like guys that are great at one thing and then average at everything else tend to be more exciting to watch than guys that just average at everything. Because when you're average at everything, that means you just you can just do enough to get by. But it's like this: if I'm fighting a great kickboxer and I'm a good wrestler, then somebody's going to get beat down, because if I take the kickboxer to the ground, he'll know nothing off his back. I'm going to beat him up. Now, if I decide to try to stand with the kickboxer, I'm going to get pieced up, you know what I'm saying? Just like it's like how if a good grappler faces a guy's good jiu-jitsu, a good striker faces a guy's good jiu-jitsu, then here's the thing. What's going to happen? Will the guy get in the ground or we get beat up? A wrestler versus a pure jiu-jitsu guy. Will the wrestler go for the takedown? We try to stand. How the jiu-jitsu guy bring a fight to the ground? That's what makes the fight interesting, in tactics and technique.
Sure.
Game planning.
I mean, that reminds me, Mo, because I think this is a quote attributed to you, that you said MMA is not a real sport. And if I'm saying that out of context, I apologize, and you can correct me.
You said it right. It's not. In true sports, the results all that matters. So I go to nationals, say a nationals, and I wrestle 5 matches. And I win nationals. All my matches are 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. Guess what? People are going to say, Mo sure can win. National champion. Now, say I watch a football game and score is 3-0. Man, great game. Defense wins games. Man, that was a great game. Oh, if you let that first down, oh man, it would have been, they probably could have won that game. MMA, I beat you 29, I beat you 30-27, 3-9 rounds. Man, Mo's good, but he's boring. Man, all he does is take guys down and beat up on them a little bit. He's not trying to stand and bang. Man, you want to stand and bang. If you want to stand and bang, do tough man. Do BKB boxing. Go to it's glory. Go to glory. Do something like that. But MMA is all about winning any way you can without taking any damage. Standing and banging is that doesn't exist really. Unless you're two swingers, two brawlers trying to fight. But for the most part, MMA, we could be defeated, but if your classified is boring, then guess what? People won't watch you, and the promoter will want you to fight.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And another topic that you've been really outspoken about is Bjorn Rebney, and I feel like Bjorn, maybe they should rename it to, instead of Weekend at Bernie's, maybe Weekend at Bjorn's, because I don't know where the hell the guy is. I know on Twitter he said he's in Mexico or something. Where is he, and why do you dislike him? Because it seems like you don't like him.
I don't know where he's at. It's where's Waldo? To me, just he just seemed like he didn't seem genuine, but that's about it. Some of the stuff he did, I don't like to go into it because, knowing him, he's the type of guy to file a lawsuit, or do something weird like that. So I'm not gonna, I like to speak on Bjorn because, he ain't a dumb man. He ain't dumb at all. He's kind of slick and he's smart, And he does the stuff that, if he does something with intention. So I'm not there to talk about Bjorn no more.
Other than dick riding, right?
That's not my form of transportation.
Speaking of that, I was under the impression that he was traveling the country in the Winnebago with his dad. But
I know you're talking about. Oh. I heard about that.
Have you ever seen that video?
Yeah, I've seen it. That's funny.
It's great. Phenomenal. Mo, you were talking a second ago about standing and banging and, how that doesn't necessarily play into winning and being in the sport. Now, I would like to send out a huge congratulations to you on being chosen as the number 4 best knockout in Bellator history, as they aired it, I believe it was last night on Friday. And I would also like to thank you for knocking out my friend, one of my best friends, Seth Petrozelli, because in that case he kind of needed to be brought back down to earth after that win over Kimbo. He's been riding that thing for years, and I was glad to see somebody put him in his place.
Well, that's messed up. I like Seth, man. Seth is cool, man. I like Seth because Seth was Seth. Seth kept it real. I feel like a lot of fighters, they're afraid to be themselves, so they all play the cookie cutter roles. Like, great fight. Yeah, he's a great opponent. My hat's off to him. Look at him. Man, I ain't trying to hear that. Keep it real. If you don't like somebody, say it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see, I want to see, like, celebration dances. Like, you got somebody out, you do a celebration. Something with rhythm, something that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I want to do is, if I knock you out, I want to go to a corner, and all fours lift my right leg up and piss. Like, I'm piss like a dog, you know what I'm saying? I want to do something like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I caught the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing. It got me fined. I did a DX and the middle finger flipping the crowd off. Got me fined. I got to find something else different.
Is it when you got fined in Houston? Was that with the bottle that you? Was that it, or was it another one?
No, I got fined like my first fight in Bellator. Because I had the Rockstar, and I was like, I'm gonna do a Stone Cold Steve Austin tribute.
Oh.
So the commissioner dude gave me the Rockstar, and then Mayhem, but I won. Mayhem would jump up and down like, yeah, and he handed the Rockstar, and when I opened it to do a Stone Cold, to cheers and drink that, it sprayed everywhere on my face. And I'm like, oh. So I just I started getting wild with it, hit the two cans together, started downing my Rockstar, and then walked around, and they fined me, man. I didn't know. They fined me, I think, like $5,000 or something like that. I don't know. Something ridiculous.
Some bullshit. Fuck. Mo, I know you're still very closely connected with the wrestling community, so I wanted to get your thoughts on some of the guys that are transitioning over to mixed martial arts, primarily Aaron Pico and Henry Cejudo and 5-time world champion Gasilov from Russia, who is I don't know if you were in the room with them. With DC for this camp, or
I saw Hajj Murad in New York, and I saw him in Vegas. But Pico, sky's the limit. He's a real old school style of wrestling, very very physical with his hands. He's good boxing, from what I understand and what I've seen. He's a combat athlete. But Cejudo's guys over with him, depending on his weight class and who he's training with. Cejudo can be a beast too, a monster, future champion. Hajime Gatsarov is somebody that, he's like, he's sky's the limit for this dude. I love to see him come down to Florida and come train at ATT or AKA with people that are familiar with him, like me and Daniel. He's the only person I know. Like, only one American's beating him, and that's Terrell Delagney. If he's Gonzalez beat me, Burton, Gutches, I believe, Dean Morrison, he's beaten Cormier, he's beaten everybody I can think of, Ryan Tobin. He beat the whole Olympic ladder. Lee Ford, no one's beating him. He beat us all. And he was like at one point 12-0 versus America, and Terrell finally got him for us twice. But man, he's an amazing athlete, very explosive, quick, limber, great reflexes. He'll probably fight 205, and he'll be a problem for people if he chooses to fight.
Sure. Hey, Tom, do you know Gasilov? Have you had an opportunity to see him, some of his film?
Yeah, I've caught a lot of his stuff. I was actually going to interject there and say, the most amazing part about that is, the reason why he was even wrestling Tervel Delagnov is because he can't make the team in his own country at that weight.
Gadisov, Abdulsalam Gadisov. Gadisov is the guy, and he bumped up, and he's won worlds at heavyweight. Gadisov beat him. Gadisov's a beast. Oh, I forgot. There's a Cuban out here by the name of Michel Batista. Be on the lookout for him. He actually beat Daniel, pinned Daniel at Pan Am's. I beat him at Pan Am Championships. He was I think 2-time bronze medalist. This guy's one of the best throwers I've ever seen in freestyle. And he trains down there with Yoel Miro in Miami at ACT.
Oh, okay. So are you in the room a lot with Romero, or is it different?
Well, in different gyms, I'm going to start, or this camp for him, I'm going to start working with them because, I have to go down there to Miami to come up here. So we go back and forth, once or twice a week.
Sure. Yeah, and the last thing, Mo, I wanted to to ask you about, because there was an article. I can't pronounce the fella's name, but he's on MMA Fighting. He's got like 3 names. I think his name is Sean Al something. But he did an article about Real Pro Wrestling from 2004.
Oh,
and
man.
I don't know if he asked you for some quotes on it, but I just wanted to get some of your thoughts about it, because, you know, it was pretty cool. It's a decade ago. It's amazing how fast things have gone.
Yeah, man, what do you want to know about it? There's a lot of quotes on there.
Whatever you want to talk about, man.
Well, like, you know, Rulon, Daniel, and Joe Warren, we understood that it's wrestling, but it's not USA Wrestling. You know, it's on TV, so we have to make it entertaining for the people that are watching, because we don't want the hardcore wrestling fans watching it. We want the people that don't know what wrestling really is about, because that number is greater than the hardcores. So me and Dan and Joe were like, look, we're going to go out there, talk trash. You know, Rulon was like, yeah, y'all talk trash, because everybody else is boring. So I'm like, they were all talking trash. You know, time for the interview, we're just smashing people. Our interview's like an hour long, longer than everybody else's, because we're giving them great quotes and sound, you know, great bites. And I was like, Lee Swanhart's a cheap tractor. He's no John Deere. All he can do is move forward and backward, no lateral movement. And I said that, right? And that hurt me a little bit, because I lost camps. You know, people would bring me in because they thought that was a bad sport, unsportsmanlike, and they thought I called Lee Swanhart a cheap cracker. And I'm like, what? I was like, ain't no John Deere cracker. I said tractor, you know what I'm saying? And that hurt me, like, you know. And even Daniel, when Daniel Spain coming to Wildlands, people thought that was cool. But then, I guess, you know, the wrestling community thought that was bad. They kind of fined Daniel. They fined Daniel after that, which was later after the match has been done already. You know, with wrestling is the point now, because you get the different personalities. You know, you have guys like me, you have guys like Ben Askren, guys like Johnny Hendricks. You know, different guys. We weren't the same. Now you got guys like Mako, different guys. Like, everybody's different. You can't all be the same, like all good guys, because you have to have some bad guys and people care. You know what I'm saying? The bad guys make the sport. Like in pro wrestling, the heel makes the wrestling show.
Absolutely.
I was really impressed, Mo, by the fact that you not only, I mean, that you were probably the highlight of that season for me. I have it on DVD somewhere stashed underneath my Debbie Does Dallas collection. But how did you wrestle with nipple rings? And I mean,
hey man, look. I take them hoes down. The thing is, like, I take them down, man. I do my thing. I lost a bet. And I think it was a basketball game. It was something stupid. I lost a bet. And I got them done, kept them in, because I was like, man, these hoes hurt so bad. I'm going to keep them in. Because if something that, you know, that hurt that bad, you know, I had to keep them in for like 2 months. After a while, I was like, fuck it. Just keep it in and roll with it. And it was different because, man, I go to the club, and when I first got done, it made my chest look all big, because all the swelling went to my chest. So I took my shirt off in the club, and them hoes were like, oh my God. And I was like, oh, you like this shit? I was like, okay, hell yeah, that's what's up. And then some people thought I was a freak, I was crazy and shit, but I didn't care, because it is what it is, man. I ain't all there, you know what I'm saying? I'm a fucking fighter and wrestler.
So, because the chicks liked it, you went along with it.
Hell yeah, I can't. I was like, I can't say one girl that didn't like it. No, it's not like, I don't like that. But then eventually, like, oh, okay, I like that, because they play with it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, cool. They play with it. You know what I'm saying? Straight up.
No shit. Now, I mean, Tom, I would think that's something that, like, a couple white guys like us couldn't get away with. Maybe a more stylish guy like Mo could get away with it.
No, you could. You could. No, it's like this. You could, but belly button ring is a no-no. That's a no-no. I've seen dudes. I remember on Eliminate, some dude, because that's where the bet came from, because we watched Eliminate. And they're like, oh, you get your nipple pierced. But some dude got his belly button pierced and went on a date with the girl. Ain't no way in hell I'm finna do that.
What do you got, Tom?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up, because actually myself and Seth Petrozelli one night, man, I'm trying to think of the name of the club. It's in Fort Lauderdale. It might be like the Living Room. Does that sound familiar?
No.
That place?
Is that some
we
kind of
were
gay
there.
bar? I mean, hey, if you and Seth were there, it's got to be some kind of fucking gay bar.
Listen, I was just talking about taking his shirt off at the club with nipple rings on, and the only places I have been in plenty of gay bars, and those are the only places where you can take your shirt off if you're a guy. So, I mean,
Wow. The thing is, right? In Stillwater, Oklahoma, in some places, man, I took my shirt off in the club, and what the bouncers gonna do?
Point.
Yeah.
What the bouncers do? Especially even at times down, so I take my shirt off, or take half my shirt off, and they'd be like, "Hey, you put your shirt on?" No. Come on, man. We don't have no problems. I will cool down.
Well, okay.
Now maybe with y'all, you're probably raining. It was probably raining there where y'all was at. You know what I'm saying? It was Mo. No, never.
It wasn't raining. It was hail. It was hailing men.
But Tom, I mean, Mo kind of brings up a good point, because there's always these like allegations or rumors because of these pictures that surface about with you and Seth Petrozelli.
Yeah, well, there's nothing in those rumors.
Hey, Tom, let me quick question, Tom. Do you like Chris Bosh?
Nah.
Quit lying, man. Quit lying, because you kind of run me with a white Chris Bosh, though. Straight up.
You know who I'm a fan of? I'm a fan of who was his name? Delonte West. Is that the guy that slept with LeBron James' mom? That's
You're stupid, man. You're stupid. Yeah. You're stupid, man. You're stupid.
That's who I'm a fan of. You know, that guy. But yeah. Me and Seth, we're not gay. Okay. We did almost get our belly buttons pierced in Fort Lauderdale, but luckily we were drunk. Luckily the ATM didn't work. So we took that as a sign that we should probably leave and not get it done. And in the comment you made earlier, Brian, about not being able to pull off piercings, right?
Right.
I used to have a piercing, and I didn't go with the nipple rings because that's kind of pedestrian. I went all the way, you know. Well, okay, maybe not all the way. I went like halfway, but yeah, I did have my penis pierced. Unfortunately, I didn't try taking it out at any clubs in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So I don't know what the reaction from all the ladies would have been. But
like what part? Like the head of it?
And actually, we should stop that. We can stop all that, because I ain't trying to hear what it is.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, who the hell? Why would you do that? Why?
Because some probably one of them clubs you went to, one of them gay clubs you went to, he got more attention.
Is that why, Tom?
No. Well, it was one of these things. Like one of my friends was like, "Hey, I bet you won't get that done." You know, I might have lost a game of basketball or something. Actually.
Oh, sure.
Now that I think about it, now one of my friends just offered to pay for it, and I was, I thought, what the hell? I might as well get it done. But it wasn't. You asked what kind of piercing it was. If it was just the head or whatever. But I'm like a Irish white guy, Brian. So if you pierce just the head, you're piercing the entire thing. You know, there's not much real estate besides that. So.
Hey, Tom. Well, we have a mutual friend, Jim Winter.
Who is it? I'm sorry.
No, Jim Winter.
Oh yeah, Jim Winter,
yeah, that's my dog, man. I've known him since I was in high school. He used to come in and wrestle with me and beat up on me when I was in high school.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I mean, realistically, I owe a lot to him because wrestling wasn't something I really took that seriously when I was in high school. And then when I hit college, I kind of, ran into a situation where basically what happened is I have a sister that died in a car accident. And at that time, I thought to myself, like, shit, like I've been living all wrong. You know, I need to start living life to the fullest and taking advantage of every opportunity I had. And Jim Junta really is the one that created these opportunities for guys who weren't at these scholarship programs to wrestle in college. And, I got to thank him a lot,
Yeah, I didn't know that story. Wow, that's amazing. Hey, Mo, always a pleasure, man. Always great talking to you. You're always a wealth of information. And it was a great time. And we'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy.
All right, man.
Young Bucks, suck it. Young Bucks, suck it.
All right, then. Later, Beau.
Now you know, you dumb son of a bitch.
Oh my God! What the hell did he mean by that? It was Triple H! Really, it was Triple H? And it's Stone Cold's home state of Texas and the home of WrestleMania. All of Stone Cold has been destroyed, has been left battered and bloody and hammered at the hands of the Game and the Sledgehammer. Triple H, the accomplice? Why, Triple H? You son of a bitch! Why? Tell me why!
All right, welcome to the Filthy FRB Show. We have a couple great guests. Number one, OMA, Beau Taylor, legendary from the Underground. Jake Shields, and I'm joined with Filthy Tom Lawlor. What's going on, guys?
Just hanging out.
It's good to have the Jake Shields on the phone. Jake, Beau Taylor here, one-man army. You don't know me very well, but I'm
No, I've never met you. I've heard about you. I know you're pretty obnoxious on the forums, but nice to meet you.
Yeah, don't worry. It's just an act. I'm a great guy in real life. But first of all, thanks for coming on.
Know.
Front Row Brian, who is a legend on scooping inside information in the hardcore world, becoming a superstar now with a show. Tom Lawlor, obviously, needs no introduction. The man with his 7-year UFC career. You can't get rid of the guy. Believe me, I've talked to Dana about it. We've tried. You can't. Superstar. But, it's an honor that you would do my friend's show. So I want to say thank you for that alone. But
of course, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Can I ask you? And I'll give it back over to the host here in a second. But can I ask you a serious question?
Yes, I suppose you can.
What are you wearing right now?
It's pretty serious. Just jeans and a t-shirt. Nothing too fancy for you, Beau.
Oh my God, that is hot. Okay.
So, Jake, you were at a brunch, but isn't brunch supposed to be between breakfast and lunch, or is it? I mean, it's 3 o'clock out there.
It's about time. Well, I would say sleep in, and I worked out, so then I go eat.
You're in San Francisco right now, Jake?
Yeah, San Francisco.
Then you were definitely at a dunch.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Officially, that just doesn't sound too good.
Yeah, there's breakfast, brunch, lunch, dunch, supper, supper.
That's not a very good sound. You can't really tell people that.
No, you can't.
That's kind of embarrassing. You don't say you're at dunch.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like a Dutch oven or something.
Exactly.
It does. Which is a horrible sound.
Exactly.
Horrible experience, too.
Hey, Jake, for all the fans listening, will you give us a quick rundown of your thoughts here? When's your next fight?
Actually,
who's Brian Foster?
Next Saturday, so it's coming right up. So yeah, a week from today, Brian Foster.
What are your thoughts on his strengths and weaknesses and how you match up?
I think he's I never even heard of him I've heard the name but never watched the fight. I never agreed to fight him, and I watched his fights. He's actually pretty good. He has really good stand up, pretty good submissions. He makes some mistakes.
Hey, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy.
He's a tough guy. He's tougher than I originally thought when I agreed to fight him. He's really fast, comes in and in, but I think he makes mistakes in submissions. I think I can tap him out.
Jake, I got a question. Jake, this is Tom here. Yeah, it's Tom. I have a question. How do you feel about? Good. How do you feel about potentially fighting somebody with half a brain?
Half a brain. Yeah, I've heard he had some kind of head problems, but you know anything about that? Obviously, he's a good fighter. He's been on a big winning streak, so I gotta go out there and I'm him in his head and hit half that brain.
He's got the part of the brain that controls fighting.
Now,
yeah, they approved him. They approved him in Nevada. Nevada's the strictest commission. So if they approved him there, then it must not be that bad.
Now,
right. Mathematics are not his strong point, but punching people in the face, he's still got that part of the brain.
He has the punching and the choking part. So can't take him lightly.
Now, Jake, I mean, have you ever fought somebody who's had their testicle burst like this guy Foster?
Does he have that too? He's got half a brain and half a sack of testicles.
I
wish I did not know that. I did not know that part.
I wish I was just fucking around. I wish I was kind of being a funny guy and fucking around with you, but no, that's it. Really happened. His testicle, one of his testicles burst from a leg count.
The first thing that comes to mind is,
would that happen in a fight?
In practice, I think it happened like 2 or 3 years ago. Do you know, Tom?
Wow.
Man, that is
No,
terrible.
I don't know exactly what happened, but I mean, how are you going to hurt that guy? I mean, he's Professor X's worst nightmare.
Life has already hurt him so much. He's like the toughest guy ever.
So basically, they had one testicle removed because of
man, that's terrible. I've heard that happen to a few fighters actually. That's a pretty scary thing. Guys getting hit, getting removed. That's just horrible. It must be the worst pain, and not something anyone wants to deal with.
I hear it happens to a lot of fighters when they go through a divorce as well.
Probably.
They lose at least one.
Beau might know.
The first month's alimony payment is your testicle. You get to keep one. And
Do you have both or just one now, Beau?
I got an implant, so it looks like I have both, but I definitely lost one in the divorce.
Now, Beau and Jake and Tom, we need to go back to the beginning. We need to talk a little bit about why everybody knows who One Man Army is, who Beau Taylor is, and I'll let him take it. I'll let him take it, but basically 5 years ago he killed Chemo.
That's right. I forgot about that. He started the rumor of Chemo being dead and made that TMZ, right?
Yeah, I like to think he was already dead, and I kind of resurrected him.
But that's actually more true. But hey,
yeah. So on some of the forums, there's mixedmartialarts.tv, the UG, where I would spend, just as a fan of the sport, I'd spend a lot of time there reading, and you can get a lot of news and inside stuff. And I've been lucky enough to train with some of the best guys in the world by luck. So Jake and I wrestled in college together, and that's where we became friends, in San Luis Obispo. And there was a bartender there that would let the wrestlers drink for free if you had like a shitty fake ID, or let you drink for cheap and make you real strong drinks. And he was an ex-wrestler. Yeah, by the name of Chuck Liddell. He would make screwdrivers that were gray. It was like all bought.
It wasn't really doing us a favor. We thought it was at the time because we're getting
right. It's like, he's really hooking me up.
You end up blacking out.
Yeah, but you'd be hammered. But it was, he was not the Chuck Liddell you all know. It was just bartender, ex-wrestler Chuck Liddell. And he was doing some kickboxing in Vegas, at least, and I think he'd had one mixed martial arts fight, or, at the time, NHB fight. And he kind of came to some of the wrestlers and just said, hey, I'm looking for workout partners. Anyone want to kind of learn this submission and kickboxing stuff? And if I remember correctly, I was like, I'm trying to be like a good wrestler. That stuff's fun. And Jake went in and trained. Jake's like, I'm down, and he went in and trained.
Yeah, I thought it was to beat Chuck up. He had like these funny karate tattoos, wearing like a kimpo. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna suck. But ended up getting my ass kicked pretty bad.
And, it's like, okay, this guy's for real. And Jake came back to the house that night and just kept telling me over and over again, like, I'm going to kick the shit out of you. Like, I'm learning all this new shit. I'm going to fuck you up. Blah, blah. We were competitive, just as competitive people and friends. I was like, well, I can't let him just, like, kick the shit out of me. I better go in and learn this stuff, too. And so it started from there, where almost every weekend, we'd go travel to a different gym. You know, you're in California, there's badasses everywhere. Shields is going up to Big Bear and training with Tito and Chuck and Mark Lehman and Tony D'Souza and Marvin Eastman. And Fabiano Iha, if you guys remember him, was like the badass armbar super stud jiu-jitsu guy. And Shields was like getting the better of him and frustrating him. He's getting pissed and stopping, you know, workouts early. And so right then and there, kind of people realized this guy's talented. And we had Gan McGee, who fought for the UFC title, Jason Bonflew, Antonio Banuelos. It was just a group of badasses. And, you know, you're in a room like that, you either get tough or you get out. And then Shields goes up to Caesar, Gracie's. We make a friendship with those guys. We're training with David Terrell, Gil Castillo, the Diaz brothers, and again, traveling on every weekend to train at all these different gyms. So immediately, we got pretty good, and we knew a lot of people. So fast forward to 2005, it's known on the UG that I have some connections, that I know these people, that I hang out with them, you know. So it wouldn't be crazy for me to have an inside scoop. But I've also kind of taken up trolling. And that's just kind of fucking with people, or, you know, I'm trying to entertain myself, really.
You've always been an expert at making people angry. You've always been really good at that.
Yes, I have. And so,
right now, so.
Right. I'm upset with myself.
Oh, at least you're talented, girl.
That's right. And so once a year, I would do a so-and-so is dead thread, just as a joke. You know, it's like you can't do that all the time. People aren't going to believe you. And I didn't put much thought into it a couple of years before that. I'd get some bites, you know, for about a day. They'd figure out I was fucking with them, and it would go away. And so when it was that time of the year to do another death thread, I kind of cooled off on trolling for a couple of months, and then I was thinking about who would be a good person, you know, who would be believable. I figured I'd put some thought into this one. And Chemo was going through some like legal troubles. I think he'd been arrested for methamphetamine. I had just done Tap Out Radio the week before, and they had Chemo on, and they were talking about how they had a hard time getting a hold of him because he didn't have a cell phone, and his manager had taken the cell phone to do the radio interview. So I was like, this guy, you know, he doesn't have a cell phone. He's got all these troubles going on, so it'd be believable if he died of a heart attack. The guy's doing meth, and no one's going to be able to get a hold of him right away. You know, so if I say so-and-so's dead, and then 12 hours later he's like, what? No, I'm not. It'll ruin it, but if no one can get a hold of this guy for a couple of days, I might be able to run with this thing. And I found out who his jiu-jitsu coach was. I knew some guys that trained down there, so I referenced their names. And I just said, you know, hey, he's down. And I wrote it real believable, like I was actually concerned and saddened by this great death. And a lot of people are emotionally tied to Chemo, too. You have to kind of understand, because he was the first guy to give Hoist Gracie troubles. A lot of people were anti-Gracie, anti-grappling, you know, just at heart. If you weren't a good grappler, you might have rooted for him to lose. And so I made up a story that, you know, he had died of a heart attack in Costa Rica. But I didn't know too much. It's like, you know, but, you know, his cause of death, they're not certain. They believe it was due to a heart attack. And then immediately switched to telling the story of his career. You know, so I stopped talking about his death, and it's like this man, you know, had an amazing career, and kind of went down what he had done and kind of focused on him as a historical NHB MMA figure. And so, you know, the last two paragraphs are like he almost beat Chemo. He fought in a super fight against Ken Shamrock.
You put some serious thought into your trolling, bro.
And then rest in peace, you know. I just figured make it believable. And again, I was only trying to fuck with half of the UG. The UG that didn't know I was trolling, and I figured it'd be funny to the other half, but, you know, it's such a morbid subject. If you're going to say someone died, you're an asshole, you know? So one, you can only do that once a year, and two, even if you know I fuck around, it still is, like, kind of believable, because you're like, even he is not that big of a scumbag that would say this guy is someone's dead when they're not, you know? You know, this is too serious a subject to joke about. And just hoping to mess with the UG. But the problem was, and where it ended up being lucky, is it just started to grow and grow and grow. And these MMA websites, and I say that in quotes, these reporters, the sport, you know, was kind of a joke media-wise back then. So people started citing... What's that?
Is that a reference to us? Is that a reference to myself and Brian?
No, not at all. It's a reference to back in the day where these sites didn't have a lot of money, but were trying to make themselves believable, make themselves considered a legitimate news outlet. So they would post things that were not true. Anything you guys post are rumors or things that you're hearing about, legitimate things. These guys just started copying news, stealing news from other places. And so originally, you know, MMA Weekly would say, one-man army, Beau Taylor, who's an insider and knows all of these guys, is reporting that Chemo's dead. And they're citing me as a reliable source. Right. And they're citing me as the reference. And so it's like, this is funny. This is getting even bigger. I can't believe these idiots are doing this. Where it went crazy was, this was another week after Michael Jackson had just died, and TMZ had scooped that. But they had guessed. Yes.
Before you go any further, you're saying this is a week before when Michael Jackson died, but you're forgetting another very beautiful white female in Farrah Fawcett also died that same day.
That was a heartbreaking subject, but I don't think TMZ scooped Farrah Fawcett's death. TMZ was the first to report. He left for the hospital, and 15 minutes later, they were like, he's dead, bro. We confirmed it. He's dead. I don't know this for a fact, but I assume they just guessed and guessed right, because he, you know, was dead leaving the scene. But the other people are not ready to report it yet, because all the facts aren't in. TMZ's like, we got this. He's dead, bro.
But Beau, not to interrupt you, but Jake, what did you think when your buddy is like at the center of this incredible controversy? Were you like, oh god, I don't know.
It was, it's just Beau. I mean, I've known him for enough years. He's always done weird, crazy stuff. So I was not really that surprised. I thought it was, you know, amusing that it made like the mainstream news and stuff. But it just, to me, it wasn't surprising at all. The stuff Beau does, known him enough years. Like,
it was almost expected.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the things. If it was different with my friends, I'd be surprised. But with Beau, you're like, oh yeah, that's typical Beau doing something like that.
Jake, is there anything that Beau has done in the past that would surprise you, or that did surprise you?
Probably quite a few things.
Lay it on us. Come on.
He knocked my tooth out one time.
Ooh. And did not help pay for it either.
I don't really got any money at the time, so it's all right.
How did that happen?
Yeah, and that tooth looks good now. I'm going to be honest. I think it looks better than it did before. So you're welcome.
Thank you. I think we're just drinking a little too much and got bored and started to fight each other.
When we were in college,
I had a big ring on.
Hey, Tom, are you drinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm drinking. Beau, are you drinking?
I am.
I'm the only one not drinking here.
Yeah.
We said that earlier. Yeah, Jake's gonna be.
I would join in if it was after my fight, but unfortunately, I can't right now.
Who cares? Jump in now. It doesn't matter.
It didn't stop John Jones from doing a couple of lines.
Good point. What's one drink compared to a couple lines?
The problem is it messes with your cardio and you're too close to your fight.
Exactly.
But yeah, when we were young in college, we were real competitive. You know, young, dumb, testosterone filled. You know, we got in our share of bar fights. We'd like to think we never started any bar fights, any fights for that matter, but we always finished them. You know, if you stepped up and talked some trash, we wouldn't let you out of it. If you later started to try to kind of like back down, it was like, no, you said this, you know. But sometimes if one of us had too much to drink or both of us had too much to drink, we would kind of get into it with each other too. And I think I was wearing like a CIF championship. I was coaching a wrestling team, Paso Robles High School. Go Paso Robles High School. And we had won the California Interscholastic Federation section championships, and we'd gotten these rings. And so I'm wearing this big old class ring, not thinking about it. We get competitive about something, start throwing blows, and I punched it.
Yeah, I don't think you hit that hard. I think the ring just split the tooth in half.
Bo, did you also have on a sweet Letterman jacket at the time?
No, but I had my Letterman jacket.
He still wears it.
Put it on.
He still walks around and wears it.
I was
talking about that time in high school.
I'm literally wearing it right now because I don't want to brag, but I was a 4-year varsity letter winner, and how are people going to know that if I don't wear my Letterman jacket?
Now, Beau, you used to tell people on the UG that you had a perfect life, a perfect wife, and a perfect cock. No, are all of those true, or am I just imagining things here?
They are all true, and that's kind of was the irony, the funniness of it is I always just wanted to let the losers every single person on the underground lives in their mother's basement. Tom can attest to this.
All of them are.
He's met them.
Yeah,
without
probably like 95%. You're probably exaggerating.
And I just wanted to remind them of what, like the jock versus nerd, play that up a little bit. The people that can be bitter, I just wanted to let them know that I have a beautiful, perfectly shaped, gigantic penis that tastes like butterscotch. I have a beautiful, perfect 10, bar slut of a wife, the bar slut of my dreams, and 2 beautiful daughters that will probably grow up to be models, and a successful small business. And I just wanted to let them know the pain that I have to live every day. A lot of people think it's easy to be perfect and handsome and have everything great, but it takes a lot of work. You'd be surprised. And when you're living in your mom's basement, you don't meet a lot of people like me. So I wanted to reach out to them, touch them in a positive way, and I feel like I did that.
So nice of you.
Yeah. So also, underground, you're welcome. Inspire people to be better than what they were. It's like, hey, listen, if you work hard, and if you're born a super athlete, and if you're born really handsome, and you're born into money, and you work hard too, you can be like Beau Taylor.
Beau, you talk about this small business that you own, and you're in Tulsa, correct?
Beautiful Tulsa, Oklahoma, yeah.
Now, is it, if you can expound on the business a little bit, I've heard there's rumors going around that it's a affiliate of Mutt Cuts. Is that true?
That's one of my business ventures for sure. Yeah. But my main income is just my father owns a cleaning company, like a janitorial service. They clean banks, churches, offices, hospitals, etc.
Do you have people that specialize? Beau, do you have people that specialize in pipe cleaning?
I subcontract all the pipe cleaning for myself.
I thought that was a work. That's a shoot. He really is in janitorial services.
No, I really am. So my dad's got this business, and I started a company called Floor Doctors. And so all the businesses that need their floors stripped and waxed, I send 2 Mexicans there to do it, and then I take the lion's share of the money, and I stay home and goof around on the internet.
Sounds like tough work.
Yeah, it's the oldest trick in the book.
I was under the impression that the oldest trick in the book was Mary Magdalene, but
Yeah, I think I've heard that as well, but who knows?
I think he might be right. Yeah.
So, Jake,
although offensive.
I not to interrupt you, OMA, but I wanted to ask Jake, who's actually somebody to a star,
right? Someone of importance.
Yeah, somebody of importance. Yeah,
not as important as Beau, but I try.
So, once you beat up this guy, Brian Foster, the Polaris guy. And I've seen some things that you said that he's not a dirty fighter. What do you think of him?
Well, he's a little bit of a dirty fighter. It's kind of hard to say. I think he's a little bit of a dirty fighter, but then sometimes he's a scary dude. He takes your leg and tries to break it. So anyone that's trying to snap your leg in half is pretty scary. But he's someone I can deal with. I'm one of the best grapplers. He's one of the best grapplers. I just gotta make sure he stays off my legs. And if he does, try to break his too.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think of that prospect, Beau?
I like the style matchup to a sense in the fact that he's a grappler and Jake is literally one of the best grapplers ever to compete in mixed martial arts. Very arguably the best grappler. I mean, for the longest time, the argument was Shields or Damian Maia, who is the best grappling for MMA.
And he beat him.
We got to see them compete, and Jake controlled that entire fight. He was the better grappler for mixed martial arts, head to head against the other guy that was argued.
Yeah, the way Paul Harris is kind of the other guy that's at that level. His style is a lot different, though. He just really hunts for the leg locks. He's a different kind of game. But again, I feel like he makes many mistakes. I don't think he's as complete of an MMA fighter as Maia. He's got the one thing he does, but he's so good at it that it becomes scary. Even though he's only got pretty much does the one thing, he gets a lot of guys in it.
Right, he's amazing at it, and he'll force that situation. He'll force a leg lock situation. He'll take it to the ground.
Guard, and most guys won't.
But if Jake can shut down, right.
Beau,
I think if Jake can shut down that first attack, he turns it into a grappling match, a complete, well-rounded grappling match. Jake is better at 99% of anything that can happen. So I like the matchup, but how do you fight that guy and not be scared of getting leg locked?
Amazing. But he's still dangerous because if he does get it, he's gonna try to hurt you, not to make it. He's gonna try to snap your leg off. So it makes it a little scary. He's so good at the one thing. But overall, I think I hold a lot of advantage of him.
Beau, real quick, I have a question for you. Now, you said you've been training for years and years. Have you developed a pretty bad cauliflower ear up to this point?
I have one little tiny cauliflower ear, and that's from getting kicked in the ear by Scott Adams, of all people, the former president of the WEC, and I think he's like 7 or 8-0 MMA fighter, fought in the UFC, beat Ian Freeman.
He used to work with Shelby,
but no,
right?
I don't have bad cauliflower ear. What were you saying, Brian?
Well, he used to work with Shelby at WEC, right?
Yeah. I mean, Reed. Is it Reed Harris?
Yeah.
Reed Harris.
Yeah, Reed
Scott
Harris.
Adams were the two owners.
Yeah, they're the main ones that started it and had it. And then I think they bought the WC out, and Reed kind of stayed on, and Scott Adams, they kind of parted ways.
Yeah.
And somehow Reed stuck around and still works for the UFC. So not sure what he does, but he's always there.
Well, the reason I was asking is because you just keep talking. Whether Brian, Jake,
I was just trying to help you out because I knew you're new to the podcasting.
No, I was trying to set you up there so I could ask Jake a question about, or actually, I was going to say how impressed I was with his grappling against Roberto Satoshi at Metamoris. I thought that was, to me, probably one of the most impressive performances I've seen. And I just wanted to know a little bit more about that experience and, how that went down.
Yeah, no, that was a cool experience. I actually, I wasn't planning on doing it. I talked to Hollick before, told him I was interested in doing Metamoris, but the card was all booked up, and I was out on vacation in Maui, and he called me like literally the week before the tournament and asked if I wanted to do it. And I said, I figured grappling is not as good as fighting, so I figured I was in good enough shape to do it. So I agreed to do it. Went out there. I only had like about 3 days to train for it, but luckily I stayed in shape year round, so I was able to go out there and win the match. I'd like to do it again, have a little more time so I could push the action a little more. But I Also, I did a secret match. So the secret match, they don't even tell us who we're going against. They keep it secret, but I didn't even know who I was going against.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you didn't know who you were competing against?
I literally walked out on the match and see this dude, and I still didn't know who he was because I don't follow jiu-jitsu that close. I know like a lot of the big names, so I didn't even know what the guy was going to do. I'm just like, I'm looking at his body, being like, he walked out in a gi, more looks like a guard guy, but it actually surprised me by how strong he was. He was like really strong and wiry, but after a minute or two, I started figuring his style out, or a little longer than that. But after a little while, I started. Yeah, I had no idea what kind of. It was. I mean, I kind of like it actually. You have no idea what the guy's going to do. It makes it like more realistic. You just go out there and fight someone and see what they're going to do.
It's like the old school dojo storm. You go into the gym. You don't know who you're competing against.
But yeah, it's cool. You have no idea what kind of stuff they're going to do.
What were his strengths?
Of it?
His strength, he was a really good, well, actually had decent takedowns and stuff. I was able to stop those, but I'm not sure how top game was because, he never really got on top of me, but he had really good, one of those good tricky guards. It was hard to pass. It took me a little bit to figure it out because it's a different style than MMA guards. Flipping upside down, but eventually I figured it out and started passing.
Yeah. Jake, do you kind of miss that aspect of the sport as a guy that's been around for, I was going to say forever, but that's not true. But a guy that's been around kind of since the inception of this MMA game, it's kind of got.
What's that? I missed.
What was your first? What was your first fight, Jake? Like 97 or 99?
98.
I think 99. I think.
Okay.
So
yeah, that
like a little over 15 years now. Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. It doesn't seem that long, but yeah, I've been in the sport for a while. It's big changes. I mean, obviously, it wasn't there in the very beginning. I was watching it then, but just when I first started fighting, it was like super regulated. Had to go to Indian reservations. It was super underground. The only people that watched it were like hardcore. So it was it's good and bad watching the change. It's been nice seeing it become a lot more mainstream and more money and more people watching it. But then it's kind of some things kind of suck as well. Because before, all the fighters were just people that really wanted to fight. People weren't doing it trying to get fame or trying to get money. People just wanted to get out there and beat each other up.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is lost on the fans nowadays. Like, and especially the fighters too, because they come into a situation where there is money in the sport, and there is money to be made, and there's all these big TV contracts and stuff. But I think I can speak for all of us here that are on the line. But we've been watching since probably the 90s and been involved in the scene since then. And it's crazy to see, I guess, a transition from, you show up to fight somebody just for your own peace of mind and wanting to win, as opposed to now you have months and months to game plan and get ready for a fight. And, it's really a completely different world out there.
Yeah, exactly. It's changed so much, and there's the good and the bad to it. Obviously it's better making more money, but it was kind of cool in the old days when people just showed up and fought and weren't worried about money. You get these kids nowadays; they got like 2 or 3 fights, and they're sitting there, arguing about money on the contract, and it's like, man, they go out there and win a few fights and just fight because you love it, and then start trying to get paid.
Yeah. Beau,
Tom Lawlor.
You have something to interject?
What do you got, Beau?
Well, here we go.
Wait, I missed part of that. Is that directed at me or Tom?
And you, buddy. What do you got, man?
I always have something to interject. I would like to tell another story about Jake Shields from college.
Does this involve an Asian girl?
No, it does
I was
not.
a good kid in college.
Okay, so I'll take some creative liberties as any good Chael Sonnen fan would, but Jake will remember this story. This is a fight that happened against a famous K1 kickboxer that we'll leave unnamed, but K1 kickboxer comes to town to train with Shields. Or to train with Chuck Liddell, I'm sorry. Shields is still very young in the sport, hasn't had his Sakurai fight where Jake went out and beat the #1 fighter in the world in Japan. And on some polls in Japan, on Japanese websites, it was like 99% of the people picked Sakurai and 1% picked Shields. And Shields beat it. And I think, to me, that was his coming out party. That's when the hardcore fan was forced to know his name. And this is predating that. So
we're out having a couple cocktails like gentlemen, going to various parties around town. San Luis Obispo is a college town. There's parties everywhere. And this guy being a competitor versus Shields being a competitor, they kind of start having words about who would win in a fight. And Jake says, I'll bet you $20 that I'll beat you right now. We'll fight right now. And I'll bet you $20 I can beat you up. The guy's like, done deal. You know what I mean? And they start kind of talking like, Jake's like, okay, are you ready? We're going to start right now. Are you ready? We're going to fight. The guy's like, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready. And Jake says, are you sure you're ready? Because I don't want any excuses afterwards. You're going to pay me this $20. No excuses. And the guy says, yeah, I'm ready, blah, blah, blah. And Shields just goes boom and pushes him in the chest. He was standing behind like a 1-foot little wall, like a kind of a, not a curb, but it was holding some grass together. So Jake pushes him and he just falls right on his back. Jake immediately mounts him, beats the crap out of him, taps him out, and he's pissed afterwards. The guy's like, oh, you know, you cheated, I'm not going to pay you, blah, blah, blah. Shields marched a K1 veteran, marched him to the ATM, made him take out $20 and paid him. And then,
hey, if that's a bet, I would have paid him.
Right, and yeah, and that's the thing.
I'm a little older, but it's like, hey, your word got to mean something.
Yeah, he's 19. It's like, oh, I would have paid you. You're going to pay me. And
exactly. And I really needed that $20. I don't think I had much money to eat at that time. But yeah, certainly not something I do now. But hey, we were just young kids.
We're talking, I don't know, 16, 17 years ago. You know, we were 19. But and after that, in town, Shields and Chuck Liddell were the dudes, you know. And I think that's what started Jake's love affair with women.
No shit.
That's what began it?
But he didn't like them before?
That's pretty wise, huh? I think I liked it before, but hey.
You did like women before.
What
but
about
then it was like you could get any girl in town.
But Beau, what about the Asian ones?
The Asian ones, I feel, happened after I moved to Tulsa. He always enjoyed a good Asian girl. Who doesn't enjoy a good Asian girl? We all do.
Sure, yeah.
There's not that many of them in San Luis Obispo.
You go to San Francisco, and a fourth of the women are Asian. So it's just like a kid in a candy store. An Asian candy store.
Tom, do you have that problem too? Are you into these Asian women?
Like yellow fever?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
No, actually, that's like the one thing that is kind of escaped me. I guess so than anything else, I'm into black chicks.
No.
Yeah. No, I love.
Hey, in all seriousness, are you into black chicks? What's your preference?
Yeah, no, I'm being serious. 100%.
That a boy. They're just so mean and tough, and that's hard for me.
They don't like your humor, I think, Beau.
They do not like my humor. They don't like any humor that isn't. Especially mine.
Now, both. I mean, for the 3 or 4 women that listen to this podcast, like, are you single or are you married or what's your deal?
I live with my girlfriend and we have a daughter together. Okay. But I'm not into the whole marriage thing. I got married once. It was horrible, and so I decided I'm not going to do marriage again. But it's kind of an open relationship in that she is not allowed to sleep with anyone else. And as long as I don't rub it in her face, or it doesn't get back to her, to other people, I can kind of do it.
As long as she doesn't find out, or
right. Well, that's
it's like she knows in the back of her mind what's happening. Let's not kid ourselves. However, as long as it doesn't get back to her too bad, I'm cool.
Now, is this the chick that you put on the underground, that you put pictures of?
I generally don't put pictures of real life girls. If it's just some bar slut, I'll put her on the underground. I have no respect for that girl. But no, I like this one pretty well, so I don't put her on the underground.
Okay.
No, but Brian, I will use pictures. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Brian. Earlier, we were talking to King Mo earlier, guys, and he was accusing me of perhaps some homosexual activities, which I can say were not true. However, you were talking about the rumors of Seth Petrozelli and I being gay, which is not true. However,
so why is he accusing you of it then?
The very alluring part of that was the fact that in most places we couldn't get married. So that was really like the pushing factor. It's like, hey, we'll act this way so that marriage is out of the question. Because, marriage is that's a killer.
When you get married in California,
your life's over.
Well, was he referencing
relationship though?
Hey Tom, was he referencing just like the funny pictures that you guys had posted on the UG, like after a workout posing, you behind?
Yeah, which is interesting because that was exact replica of Masakazu Imanari and Shinya Aoki.
Right, the Japanese references.
Yeah, and
I think I remember that. Someone showed me these pictures. It was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure those
I remember that now. Someone showed me. I was like, okay, those are interesting.
Well, they were mocking specific photos that were, by these Japanese guys that
but it's okay if they're
completely gay in the Western world.
Yeah, but there's no way. Aoki is way, way too angry to be gay. There's no way.
Is he an angry guy in real life? What's his personality like?
Honestly, I've been told he's like one of the nicest guys going. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Heath Sims, who used to be at Team Quest and is now out in Evolve. But after this last,
if you're a wrestler, we're familiar with you.
Yeah. Okay. After this last fight that Aoki had, I was like, "Whoa, man! He's over there flipping the guy off and towing him off after the fight." And Heath said, "Like, look, that guy is the nicest guy in real life. He's phenomenal. He's great, but man, he's a killer in there."
I think talk about like guys like Nick and Nate Diaz. They're some of the nicest guys. They're like super chill, but when they fight, they get the energy going. That's kind of the way they pump themselves up. Like flip people off, and nice unless you're Beau. Now I just remember Beau and Nate had a little issue one time, but
yeah, I got into
the nicest guys.
Yeah, that's I literally almost got into a fist fight with Nate Diaz in a strip club back in the day.
Didn't you kind of ask for it? Didn't you flick your cigarette in his face or something?
I did flick a cigarette in his face, but in my defense, he was talking shit.
I don't remember. I don't remember exactly how it went down. I was like, oh great, two of my friends are fighting. What do I do?
Right. We had to go up to Cesar Gracie's room and sit in the hotel room and be talked down from fighting each other.
Now,
I was walking out of a strip club, smoking a cigarette, and Nate, who was training with Shields, said something like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" or something. And I literally just was like, "Fuck you," and flicked a cigarette in his face, and the cherry stuck on his forehead, in between his eyes, and burned him. And we went after each other, and everyone kind of broke it up, and it was like, "What the fuck are you doing? This is Nate Diaz, and what the fuck are you doing? This is OMA, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah, I remember.
On the same fucking team, in the same group, But I didn't know who
walking out of the strip club, and you guys were not wanting to stop. It took a little bit of it wasn't that simple to stop. It took a little while to calm you guys down, but eventually you did. So,
but in my defense, back then I would have kicked the fucking shit out of him. He was 19.
He was still tough.
In all of my experiences with both the Diaz brothers, and actually, Jake, I think the last time I saw you, I just kind of saw you in passing at Light Nightclub in Mandalay Bay, maybe in August. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I was out there probably when I was out there with Gil with Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I randomly, there's been a few times I've run into Nick and Nate, and it's like they come up to me, and these are the nicest guys like I've ever met. Like I wouldn't expect them.
They're super nice, down to earth if you hang out with them in the right environment. But when they're fighting someone, they look at it, it's like, oh, fuck this guy. They look at him as their enemy. It's their way of getting themselves pumped up for the fight, so it makes sense. And that's probably
Tom,
they know he's thinking too.
Tom, why did they call you Pat Lawlor?
That's a good question. I know
they always call you Pat Lawlor. I was like, is there something behind it, or?
No.
Did Diaz brothers call him that?
Yeah.
Yeah. They. I remember Nate Diaz fought Gray Maynard on a show that I fought Aaron Simpson on, and after the show, Nate Diaz did an interview. And he's talking about like, yo, man, my fucking brother got robbed. He should have fucking won that fight. And that other dude, Pat Lawlor, he should have won that fucking fight.
At least they're saying you should have won.
Yeah. Well, I was more surprised that he knew who I was. And then I think it was last year, I was actually at Daylight, which is at Mandalay Bay as well. Apparently, I only go to one casino in Las Vegas. But I was at the Daylight nightclub, and I'm standing there, and it's 1 a.m, and like I look over, and Nick Diaz is standing there. Now everybody else, it's a pool club, so everybody else is in swim shorts. Nick Diaz is standing there, full jeans with just his shirt off, and he kind of like leaned up. I'm like, oh shit, this guy's he's gonna come over and beat my ass. But he came over, and was like, hey bro, what's up, Tom? Right? Yeah, what's up? And struck up a conversation. So those guys are always super cool. So it's interesting to me to hear like people have these experiences with them where they're gonna fight them. Maybe I'm just
as long as you don't flick a cigarette in their faces, there won't be a problem.
Yeah, and first of all, I get along with Nick real well now. Nate has even been cordial. I'm sure in a cage fight he would have beaten me. I meant in like a street fight I would have fucked him up. And even that, I should be thinking that. But those guys are the foundation conceptually of what's so great about that Cesar Gracie core fight team that started out. It's like they're loyal, down-ass guys. And you get Jake Shields, Gilbert Melendez, Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, David Terrell, Gil Castillo in a room going to war with each other. They built a bond real quick, and they all pushed each other to be badasses. And it's the only homegrown, fight team that has had, any measure of success. How many title fights has Cesar Gracie fighters earned? I mean, Gil.
Yeah, I know we've all won the Strikeforce titles, and then except Nate, and then we all fought the UFC titles. Unfortunately, didn't win, but we've all had the title shots.
It's just world title after world title, and those guys are so cool, so down. If they're on your side, they're the best guys in the world, and if they got to get themselves worked up to fight you, can you blame them? That's how they get worked up, and they're unintentional geniuses. Some of the things they say are hilarious, genius stuff, and they're completely unique guys, and I think that's why they're so loved by the fans.
Yeah, people don't realize how smart Nick is sometimes. He gets criticized so much for all this, not caring and ignoring the press and doing all this, and everyone kept being like, oh, he's stupid, he's going to get pulled, but now look who's getting paid more than almost anyone. And some of them may have been accidental, but some of them may have been, I think Nick really had it planned out a little more than people thought, and more just being like,
he knew his value.
Fuck this.
His value.
Exactly. And he held out. They wanted him to fight, and Dana kept calling him, I want you to fight, Nick. I want you to fight. And he's just like, fucking pay me then. Pay me. They kept going after him, and eventually they came together with this Anderson fight. And I don't know the exact details of the contract, but I know he's getting paid.
Yeah,
he's getting what he wanted, and he wasn't willing to fight unless he got what he wanted. Because exactly, he knew his value. And they'd be calling him, being like, "You're stupid if you're not taking this." And everyone, all his friends, be like, "You're stupid." And Nick always knew to stick to his guns. He's like, "No, you guys are stupid. So I ain't gonna get in there and fight unless I'm getting what I'm fucking worth." And then he got what he felt he was worth. And
he's putting more time than those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
They've been soldiers for years, taking on all comers, and that's why they're a draw. They've built up their fan base, to a level where, not to use the stupid needle movers term, but Nick moves needles. People tune in to watch him fight one way or another.
Yeah, he's such an interesting
realize
character.
that he deserves that money because he makes a difference.
Yeah, he knows his worth, exactly.
For sure. Hey, were you going to interview me, OMA? What do you got, brother?
Yeah, I'm going to interview you just, for Jake and for the casual fan out there. The hardcores all know you. But I want to know your story in the sense of walk me through how you get into MMA. We'll start at the beginning. How do you get into MMA? When do you realize that you are passionate about this sport? And what are the steps that you took to be the guy that you are now? You're the dude that every single hardcore fan knows and has an opinion about. So how did you get into this sport, and how does it correlate with your love of pro wrestling?
Well, I mean,
and when did
you just said it. I mean, that's how it started. I was a pro wrestling fan, and then around 2003, I kind of thought I graduated to the next level. I was in I was in my early 20s. What?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in my early 30s now. So a decade ago.
You're in your early 20s. You're into pro wrestling.
Right. And then I just kind of graduated to MMA, and it kind of coincided with the time that I was making a decent enough money to be able to travel to a lot of these events. So I just a lot of the same people started seeing me, and, I just I made an account on the Underground, and then later in 2009 made an...
Wait, what year is the account on the Underground?
2007.
Okay, so in 2007 you make this account. You've been spending a couple of years traveling to events.
Right.
For those that don't know, you're a super fan. You know everything about everything. You know the little details behind things, the rumors between camps and fighters, etc. And now you're starting to run into MMA fighters at these events that you're traveling to, and they're starting to see this. So you're making connections with fighters, etc.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you join the UG. What's your first thought of the UG at this time?
Oh man, just a bunch of misfits, really. I'm just like, well, God, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
There's an interesting mix of people there. But how quickly did you become kind of a name known for delivering inside information? Because I remember you'd make these predictions. You'd say, hey, I'm hearing this. And people would tell you you're crazy, you're an idiot, you're a troll, you're lying. And then a month later, it would all come true.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in the past 4 years, that was more true. When I first started out, it was more just opinion based. I didn't really, I didn't have impeccable sources, but the past 4 years or so, yeah. I mean, I have sources that kind of tell me, hey, what's up? And
right. When did you start dating Chael, and then how did the relationship begin? How did you cultivate that? Who did you know that knew each other, and then how did you guys become such a collaborative force?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good story. I mean, I was at UFC 117 in Oakland, California, and I was just at the bar, usually as I am, before an event or whatever. And two of Chael's best friends, Darren and this other guy, RJ, just at the bar, we just got to talking, and I had thought that his promotion to the event against Anderson in Oakland was just tremendous, just talking.
Right.
And so I give them my contact information, give them my card, whatever. And 2 weeks later, I get a call from Chael, and he says, thanks for coming out to Oakland to support me. And that was like 4 years ago or 5, whatever it was, and we've been friends ever since.
He sent you a card?
I gave his buddies, his childhood friends.
Oh, and he had contacted you. Thanks for coming out and supporting me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What can you tell me? Jake is close with Chael in the sense that they've spent some time training together as well.
Sure.
And one, what a nice gesture that he's sending you. Thanks for coming out and supporting me. But what about his personality does the casual fan not know? What's he like in real life?
Yeah, Chael, I'll jump in real quick too as well. But yeah, Chael is super chill, down to earth guy. He's a little bit like the persona you see on TV, but he just kind of overdoes it a little bit. But he's like the nicest guy, and when he's on camera, I think he's kind of ups the arrogant asshole a little more than he really is. But in person, he's funny, but always super nice and respectful.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what Jake just said. I mean, he is, just an incredibly nice human being. Is some of what he says a shoot? Yeah, a lot of it is. Like, some people think it's all fake. No,
right. He's not just making shit up.
No, it's not. Yeah, he'll tell you that. He'll tell you that in private too. A lot of the stuff that he says.
Some of it's probably stuff that we think but won't say on TV. Some certain things we might think, but oh, that's not politically correct. We shouldn't say that. Chael will say the thing and then maybe exaggerate it a little bit on top of it.
Right.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, he's very loyal, a generous guy. I mean, a very nice person. I don't want to put him over too hard to make him think he's too nice, because I know he'd get upset at me. But
oh yeah, he can be a prick as well.
Yeah, he definitely can. There's been a few times where I was like, no, fuck you, and just fucking hang up on him. Fuck, don't pull that fucking bullshit. No, but yeah, you're exactly right, man.
Jake, two-part question. First for Jake, second for Lawlor. What is, as much as you can comfortably speak on, what is training with him like? As far as a training partner, Jake is known for working harder than anyone. Ben Askren works harder than anyone, and came out and trained with Jake and was one of the very few people to not miss a workout, and still, I don't want to say got outworked, but realized that some of these camps set a hard training schedule and a hard pace, and Ben kept up with all of it. But Jake trains harder than anyone. A lot of big name fighters will come out to spend a week training with Jake and miss 2, 3, 4 workouts because they need a workout off because they almost can't keep up. How was Chael like in that regard, training?
Oh, no, it was great. Yeah,
I know
Chael definitely. Well, he came out a couple times when I was peaking for my fight, and he wasn't. So he wasn't, maybe he wasn't quite doing everything. But if I was visiting him when he was peaking, I would do the exact same thing. But no, he showed up for all the workouts and always gave me great rounds. And the guy's a beast. He just comes forward and attacks, and we've had some great training. Unfortunately, I haven't trained with him probably a couple of years now, but he was one of my favorite training partners.
That's awesome. Lawlor, have you ever trained with Chael, and/or do you have any inside information about Chael, stories, etc.? And the reason I ask is because the man is just such an interesting figure. People are interested in the guy. And you're famous, been around the game forever. I can't imagine all the names you've trained with. Is Chael one of them?
Actually, no. And I've been unfortunate enough not to even be on any of the same shows. I may have met him once or perhaps twice. But, we're not really that familiar with each other. Now, on the flip side, I'd like to backtrack a little. And I tried earlier before the interview started to look this up. But I think maybe 4 years ago, I had sent Jake Shields an email when he was getting ready to fight Martin Kampman, and inquired about perhaps going out there and training, and I never received an email back.
No, and I'm not very good at talking. I would love to have you. I don't know what happened. I must have somehow missed that.
Yeah.
Maybe one of these days we can get some training in.
Yeah, I'd like to let you know, at that very fight, I beat Patrick Cote, who was a former UFC title contender.
So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Shield.
Yeah, no, I would have loved to train you. I don't know if I can see the email. I don't know what happened. I have no idea why I didn't respond to that. I would love to have you on and help me train.
Yeah.
Do you remember Tom ever reaching out to you about being involved in an AJJ affiliate or wanting to be involved in that? Because that's what I was talking about. Where it's like, I remember that. I thought that
No, I think so. Did we talk a little bit on Facebook or email or
somewhere?
Or was it through you I talked?
Might have you.
No, it wasn't me.
Yeah. I would love to train with you. I'm
contingent for making fake accounts and pretending to be people.
So you never know what Beau's up to. Where are you training out of now, Tom?
Right now I'm in Las Vegas, so I'll actually be at your fight. Yeah, I'll be at your fight next weekend, watching. If you respond to that email, I'll definitely be cheering you on. So
exactly. I will try to respond this time.
Yeah, go through
I'll go backlog it and then respond.
There you go. We're going to make this dream a reality. We're going to have a Tulsa American Jiu-Jitsu affiliate and then a Florida/Vegas, depending on where you are that week.
Yeah, it's all about American Jiu-Jitsu, not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu nowadays.
That's so last season, BJJ.
Exactly. We took it and made it a little bit better.
And you can kind of play on that patriotic sense of people, like America, it's America, we're number one. It's not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu anymore, it's American Jiu-Jitsu, so we can get all the Republicans.
Well, yeah, just like they took it from Japan and they took the Japanese and they made it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so we just, took that, modified it a little bit, now we got American Jiu-Jitsu.
Payback's a bitch, Brazilians.
Yeah. Some Brazilians will get angry about you for that, though, but whatever.
They get angry about most everything, though, so you can't just worry about it.
That is very true.
Hey, Ryan.
What's up?
Training ever?
What's up?
Have you done any training, mixed martial arts training on any level?
Yeah, some in the gym, but nothing I'd brag about. Nothing.
No, normally the training does happen in the gym. That's a good point.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm a keyboard warrior. Probably the most talented one there is.
Who's, even if we don't know his name, who's the best person you ever worked out with? The baddest dude in the room?
Well, I mean, I tried to take Chael down in his kitchen.
That's awesome.
It didn't work. He's just like, get the fuck off me, go away. Of course, I was drinking and he wasn't.
I see it happening. Like, look at you, like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, that would be a good move if it wasn't me.
I'm for whatever reason, I'm very curious about this because I have my own answer of being in the room with some of the baddest dudes ever, and they might be working on their weakness that day, so I have a skewed opinion, but I have my opinion of the baddest guy I've ever worked out with, or a few of these guys. So I'd like to ask this question. Tom, who in the room was the baddest motherfucker that you ever trained with? That you left that day being like, that dude's a fucking killer. Like, what's wrong with me? I can't even compete with this guy. Who's the baddest workout partner in all your years in every gym across the country?
I would have to say, and thinking back, my memory is a little bit hazy, but I'm pretty sure I was non-consensually raped by Pablo Popovich.
That guy.
A few times when I rolled.
He is strong.
Holy shit! He almost drilled me through the wall on a double leg. I just barely missed the water fountain on the wall. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today. And
he'd be in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that guy's a beast.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. Now, I've also had the pleasure of rolling. Well, I say the pleasure, but training with Vinny Magalhaes quite a bit. And man, I can't do anything to that guy. He's phenomenal. And I've got to train with him a lot more than I have Pablo. But my experiences with him were like, you couldn't do a damn thing to Pablo if you didn't want to. In my expert opinion, he probably would have beaten Thiago Silva if they would have fought on concrete. He probably would have double-legged him.
Right.
And that would have translated well. But yeah, I think as far as grappling goes, he was the toughest guy. A lot of times with MMA rounds, it's tough to tell because sometimes it's segmented into guys just training stand-up, or if you're training with the small gloves on, it's not really to your benefit to try to kill each other because there's so many opportunities for injury. Dan Henderson is, and a lot of respect to Jake for beating him and controlling him the way that he did. But that's another guy that, is tough as nails. You can't do a damn thing to him, and he's strong as shit. So,
right. I imagine he goes pretty hard in practice too. He seems like that kind of guy.
Yeah, for sure. And then, Jake has competed against Pablo a bunch, and that guy was a killer, the best in the world, at several periods of his career. And it's like, that speaks so high to Marcelo Garcia, too, who, in his prime,
beaten Pablo several times.
I think Pablo beat him as well. Crazy. That guy was a killer. You couldn't move him. You know what I mean? He's like built like a brick shit house. Jake, let me ask you the same question. In the room, who were the few guys that stand out to you that were just monsters?
The one guy, the only guy to ever just felt like mastered me was David Terrell in his prime.
Yeah, me too.
Was an absolute beast, he just would kill everyone. And then, he ended up fighting in the UFC, he fought for the title versus Evan Tanner. But in that fight, he was winning the beginning of the fight and then just went for a choke and lost the choke and then just froze up and got I remember Tanner.
Now,
where did
he come up with the Soul Assassin? How did he come up with that?
The guy was an absolute beast, He was just absolute beast in the room, but I think he had a hard time with going out there and performing, and he just, I don't think he ever loved fighting. He never really wanted to go and pursue it. But in the room, he would just massacre everyone. Top fighters. It's just, everyone's ever trained with him is just like, wow.
Murder him.
Maybe the pressure was too much because everyone that trained with him was like, oh, you're going to be the UFC champ. No problem. So he was just constantly hearing how easy he was going to be the champ. I think maybe that kind of got to him.
Sure.
He would just fuck everybody up. Granted, when he was doing that to Jake, Jake was still coming up. Jake wasn't in his prime, I don't know the rest of that story.
Yeah, but even back then, but no one else was ever doing that to me. And Nick and all kinds of, all the other top pros at the time would come in the room. They'd just be like, what in the fuck? That guy is just a freak.
Right. I never saw anyone compete with him. He would finish a guy off, and when he would submit you, he would hurt you. You know what I mean? By the time you realized you were caught, yeah. And then he'd hurt some guy, and he'd look up and start looking around the room. And I remember literally trying to not make eye contact with the guy, like, please don't choose me as your next workout partner. Please don't choose me. Because whenever we would go, he would take your soul. Badasses, he would make you feel like a punk, he was just...
Yeah, no, it would be a big circle around him. Everyone trying not to make contact between rounds. He'd be like looking around.
Right, I don't want to work out with him. He was the guy that started Peter Gracie's off. He's part of the reason the Diaz brothers and Shields, and conversely, because of Shields, Melendez, all those guys are so good, is if you're in the room with that guy...
He taught me quite a bit in jiu-jitsu. He's one of the main guys that helped teach me when I was new.
Yeah,
and more like
you get really good or you get out.
Beating me up, and I would learn things. I would watch what he was doing and be like, oh, I want to try that.
You heard a lot of the same stories about Ricardo Laborio, actually. That he was one of these guys at BTT that was just running through everybody in the practice room. He'd come in on his lunch break from working at the bank and just tool everybody up. But you look at his competition results and, to say that, winning tournaments and taking second or third at these major national tournaments in Brazil isn't anything. But compared to guys that apparently he was beating every day in the practice room.
Right, the way they talk about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, some guys are better in practice than competition as well.
Very much so. It's like in wrestling, the practice room All-American. Some of those dudes, in certain situations, don't handle that pressure. They don't get lost in the moment. They're thinking of other things or afraid of losing. And I think a lot of that was the deal with David Terrell, is almost a fear of losing held him back that he didn't have when the pressure wasn't on in the practice room.
Yeah, I think people
so
put
much was expected
on him by
of him.
telling him how great he was, and all of a sudden he was expected to be the best, and he had a hard time doing
Yeah,
that.
and then mentally he kind of couldn't handle that, or whatever reason. I don't want to badmouth the guy because he's inspiration.
So I'm going to have to hop off this call. My daughter's getting dropped off my house right now, so I'm going to have to hop off this call. But good talking to everyone.
Thanks, Jake.
So good talking to all you guys. I'll find that email, Tom.
I'll hit you up later, Jake. Thank you so much for coming on. You're the man.
Really appreciate it, Jake. Thanks.
Well, I think we've all learned a valuable lesson here today. Jake Shields is a great guy, and if you don't like him, you're a jerk.
You're absolutely right. To stay on the line with us for a fucking hour, he's the man.
I mean, he's another guy who's just a good guy like that. You know, I mean, I consider him my best friend. We've been friends since we were 18 years old, and he's the most loyal and good guy that there is. And he's one hell of a grappler, too. So there's worse people to be getting beat up by every day.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So, Tom, you got anything for Beau, or?
Nah, we're running out of material.
Yeah, not only that, but in the spirit of American Jiu-Jitsu, I must say, my New England Patriots just tied it up going in the fourth quarter, and I'm a few beers deep, so.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And you know they'll pull it out.
Hey, you never know.
Tom Brady can handle this just fine.
Yeah, if he can handle Giselle, I'm sure is a high-maintenance female, then he'll probably do okay.
Oh, can you imagine how high maintenance she is, too? But he's like even keel, you know. He doesn't get up, he doesn't get down for too long, and so I imagine that's how he's got to handle her, just kind of neutral.
He's got to be heavily medicated, is my guess. He's probably high 24/7. But
is she still considered like a top model? Is she up there as one of the more amazing, or has it been 10 years and?
She makes a ton of money off all the the back end things, like America's Next Top Model, and they syndicate it through like 35 different countries, and she gets all the money.
Is she an executive producer of that?
Yeah. So she makes more money.
Wow.
She makes more money than he does.
No way.
At least, I mean, that's what I read. I mean, I don't know that industry.
No, it's very, very, very possible. I can imagine with endorsements, maybe he makes $20 million, $25 million a year. I don't know. He's still a draw. You know, he's a handsome young man. He's got to do well in endorsements, but it isn't crazy to think she does better, especially if she's a smart businesswoman.
Yeah. Beau, actually, it's funny you bring that up because recently in the news, Tom Brady took a big pay cut for next year. He restructured his contract and took a huge pay cut in order to give the Patriots more salary cap room to pick up free agents. And, you know, I don't know if that's directly related to the fact that Giselle's making a bunch on the back end and he's reaping the benefits of that back end.
Right.
Or what the case is. But, you know, it's a situation you don't see a lot in professional athletics where guys are taking a pay cut to keep.
I was going to say, regardless of motive, he's done pretty well for himself. And let's say it is Giselle, let's say it's not. That's the reason you want that guy on your team. He wants to win more than he wants to take care of himself. And you don't see that so much with superstars in any professional sport. I didn't realize he had done that.
Mm-hmm.
He reminds me of a young me. Because I would do that for you guys.
How old are you, Beau?
I'm 36 years old. 36 years young.
Yeah, you're
in the
same age as Jake. Yeah, I should have known.
Yeah. His birthday was yesterday, actually.
Yeah. That's when I saw that you wished him a happy birthday. I was like, oh shit, better try to get them both on and talk a little bit.
That was his brunch deal. He was out with his brothers and his mom. One of his brothers is a BJJ black belt. Got into it well afterwards, and his brother is amazing. As far as just the storyline goes, if nothing else, Clement Shields, they're all born of hippies, first of all. Jake was born in a Volkswagen bus in Tennessee while, hippie crossing the country. His middle name is Sequoia, like the tree, Jake Sequoia Shields. And then there's Clement Shields, who's also a badass black belt. But he's even more of a badass in the sense that he has try to follow, he has a wife, he has a spirit wife, and he has a girlfriend that all live with him. 3 women, and they all live together. His wife, his spirit wife, and his girlfriend, and him and the kids.
Wow. Lucky guy, huh?
The man, or an unlucky guy, depending on how you look at it. Right. It sounds like 3 times the troubles to me. But more importantly, it just seems like a leader. Maybe a cult leader. I don't know, but a leader. How do you convince 3 different girls to just be cool with that,
That seems like something only one-man army could possibly replicate.
I wouldn't even want to. One's too much. I'd be cool with half. I've long argued that, if I was married or just with my current girlfriend, if I could just live somewhere else, and I'll come over the nights that we agree I want to come over, and then, I can stay gone the nights that I don't, that might be perfect. I'm not even, charismatic enough to pull that off. To be like, hey, let me have my own place, but we'll still be like a family. He's like, oh, yeah, I've got 2 other wives, but do you want to date? And the girl's like, sure I do, because you're the man. So, he's got something that I can't quite put my finger on.
That's amazing. All right, we got to wrap this up. Thank you, Beau, for hooking up with Jake. It's awesome to hear your insight. You're such a character. You're so fucking interesting. And Tom,
weird, interesting.
You get the last word, Tom.
Oh man, you can't put me on the spot like that.
Well, say something nice about him, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, be polite, bro.
I'm glad Chemo's not dead, and
I am too.
If you guys ever try to reach Jake Shields, maybe perhaps Twitter and not email is the best avenue. So.
Right. So maybe we did something. Maybe we did something right.
Hey, well, honestly, I'm a huge fan of both of yours. I truly appreciate you having me on. Even if it's just by proxy of knowing Jake Shields, I'll take it how I can get it. But,
Beau, remember, I sent you the text and I was like, hey, I want you on here. I don't care if Jake is busy, whatever. I want you on here.
Well, I appreciate that a great deal.
That's a shoot.
I had a blast. I apologize that I was a little long-winded. I'm well aware, for those out there listening, this is not my show. I was just trying to help. But you guys are great. I'll continue to listen. And I know you've made a big fan in Shields. He will now listen. Awesome. He will not email you back. He probably won't even respond to you on Twitter. However, Tom, shoot me a text message. I'll shoot it over to him. We'll get a response out of him.
All right. I appreciate it. I'll be in the crowd next week cheering him on regardless. So.
Oh, you're going to be at that? Are you going to be at the fight?
Hey, I got no life, so I might as well.
Well, I was already a Lawlor fan. Any A-level fighter that consistently is around the underground, I have a nostalgic attachment to. Been a big fan of yours. I'll continue to support you. And I'm sure you've already felt the benefits of me supporting you, but keep up the good work. You're literally a superstar. So, Front Row Brian, you're about to become one.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, thanks for the time, and we'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, later, guys.
Later, man.
Take care.